Well, there was no fire sign on the 10th, 11th. There was this explosion in Beirut, which is the most frustrating thing I'm sure it is for the people in Beirut, because 1 Kings 18 has an explosion by the sea. It was by the sea in a port. It creates a cloud like a man's palm. There was a perfect dome shape that appeared in the explosion. It was a shock wave. It was a dome-shaped shock wave, which is convex, looking from above, and concave from below, which is like a man's palm. And Elijah goes to the top of Mount Carmel, meaning garden land, and the cause of the bomb was fertilizer. It was ammonium nitrate, which is a fertilizer. It's a fertilizer bomb for a garden land. So it satisfies every criteria, except that it was 1 day too late to fall on a Super Pentecost. And it doesn't start World War III, and it's in the wrong place. It's not in the UK, and it's not in the US, and it's not a fire sign for the purpose of misleading people to start World War III, to cause a war. So it wasn't a fire sign of 1 Kings 18. But it was that close to it. It's the most incredible thing. And it may be one of the clouds in which people get raptured, because Paul said, we the living who are surviving will be caught up to meet the Lord in the air in the clouds. So the rapture is in clouds, and obviously there are clouds in the air, so it doesn't mean that. It means some other form of cloud. So it may be a sign that there's an ongoing rapture, possibly. Although 1 Kings 18 doesn't really relate to... Well, it does say go on up. It says go on up, look in the direction of the sea. So people who had gone up into the ark and looked in the direction of the sea, they would have seen that fire sign from the ark. But it wasn't one of the fire signs I'm predicting. And it's not the fire signs of Revelation 13. So, I don't know, it may be a fire sign of 1 Kings 18, but if that's the case, then I will be predicting signs the 3rd and 4th, and it would be the second fire sign, which is possible. Anyway, we've now got to move the signs which I'm attempting to predict, which wasn't the one in Beirut, although that may in fact have been an unpredicted one. And we've moved them to both basically be the 2 NC Super Pentecost from 2012 Chislev 21, which Super Pentecost is Ab 21. If you take it as a Super Pentecost made out of 50 Pentecosts, 7 in each year, or it's Ab 22 if you take it as a completed Pentecostal deal, because the completed 2NC Pentecost all the way back from 2019 Heshvan 21 would be Ab 21, because I'm sending that as a Pentecost to Ahaziah following 2 Kings 1, and because the Temple of Solomon is inaugurated from Ab 15 to 21, so you have a valid booths, therefore you have a solemn assembly after it, and if all of that is valid as a festival, then the Pentecost should also be valid on Ab 21. I mean, what the completed 2NC Pentecost is the last valid Pentecost as late as it can possibly be from the original Pentecost on 2019 Heshvan 21. But because I'm sending that Pentecost to Ahaziah, it must be a Pentecost, although that's a bit of a circular argument. And because the Temple of Solomon is inaugurated from Ab 15 to Ab 21, that whole period is a live festival, and therefore there would be a Pentecost on Ab 21, 2NC. It's the 9th 2NC Pentecost. So if that's the completed one, then you go to the day after it, which would be Ab 22. So what we've gone for is the second fire sign being Ab 20 or Ab 21, because the 7th Sabbath of the 50th Pentecost is an outside possibility. 2 Kings 1 would support that, but there are other scriptures which don't support it. And then the third fire sign, we were going for Ab 21, Ab 22. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't miss it if it's one day either side. because if it's going for the completed Sabbath, Super Pentecost, it's Ab 22. If it's going for the 50 Pentecosts count, then it's Ab 21. So that whole thing is from August 11 to August 14. So it's from Tuesday, August 11th to Friday, August the 14th. During that period, both fire signs should occur. One will certainly occur on the Pentecost itself, because it has to fulfill Acts 2, which is fulfilled at the absolute completion of the day of the Pentecost, so the end of Ab 21, which is going to be Thursday, near sunset, which is August the 13th. There'll be a fire sign. They may both happen on Ab 21, or they may be 20 and 21, or they may be 21 and 22. There won't be 20 and 22, there's going to be one on Ab 21. But certainly within Ab 20 and Ab 22 there'll be two, both the American and the British fire sign will occur. And World War III starts on Ab 21, 7 days after our rapture, which is tomorrow now, Hebrew day. We go up at the end, it would appear, of the 2NC rapture, rather than the beginning or the middle. So, because this rapture is ongoing, if our chronology is correct. But Abraham divided his forces by night, so you don't know, you don't see it. It's not so easy to detect, although that thing in Beirut must mean something. Alright, here's one more thing we've been looking at. Michael and his angels warred with Satan as his angels. They lost Satan, and there was no place found in heaven for them, and they got thrown out. Now, Michael, when he went into that war, he had 12 legions of angels, 72,000 angels. He had half the 1NCs. He had the first presence 1NCs. He didn't have the second presence 1NCs because he hadn't married them yet. He married them in 2015 after that war. So it's reasonable to assume that he was fighting an equal number of Satan's boys. Satan may have had 144,000 if he's copying Jehovah in the Holy Spirit, or he may have had 72,000 or some, roughly 100,000. So what that means is that 100,000 demons were thrown out of heaven. No place any longer was found for them in heaven, and they were thrown down to the earth. And when they found themselves on the earth, they started persecuting the woman, which is the 1NC woman who gives birth to the 2NCs, the first New Covenant woman. So right now there's 100,000 demon-possessed people on the planet. So be careful when you condemn. For example, Derek Chauvin, he's certainly a psychopath, you just have to look at his face. He might have been possessed, it might have been a setup. One has to be careful, because the demons are trying to foment World War III and a civil war in America, because America is not towing the globalist line, and the demons want control of everything, and they presently are operating more through the Democrats than they are through the Republicans, because the Republicans don't want to be globalists and the demons do, or most Republicans don't, deep state Republicans do. So the one group in America which the Democrats have failed to corrupt are the police. The Dems control the FBI, as we saw with the incessant investigation of Trump. They control most of the attorney generals, and they control a lot of the justices, as we see with Sullivan. The Superior Court told him to drop a case, he didn't do it. He gets done for contempt. He doesn't get to tell the Superior Court we'll go and reconsider. He's not their boss. Incredible scenario. That's what happens when you have a corrupt judiciary. Now imagine that the Democrats could control the FBI, all the attorney generals and the police. Then they'd have all law enforcement under their belt, in which case it wouldn't matter whether they got elected or not, they'd be running the country. That's a coup d'etat. But anyway, it's a political move, and it's from the demons. I don't know, you never know with these assassinations, you never know whether it was Chauvin just being a psychopath, whether it was the fentanyl, because he had enough fentanyl in him, George Floyd, to die anyway, and it stops you breathing at the level he had it at. Well, we had half the video. Everybody goes on a big riot due to half the video. You see the other half, and the guy's saying, I can't breathe, before he even met Chauvin. So the lack of breathing was due to something else. I don't think Chauvin helped, and I think he was a pig. But nonetheless, you can't jump to a conclusion on half a video. Neither should we jump to a conclusion before there's a proper court case. So anyway, enough politics. But that's the game that's being played. That's why these fire signs are occurring. They're to foment World War III because the Americans will not join the globalist coalition. Trump won't do it. That's why all the media and all the left wing hate Trump, because he's not prepared to give in to the totalitarian government of 100,000 demons. He's not prepared to give in to it. That's why they don't like him. That's the scriptural analysis that best we can come up with. Enough of that. So the fire signs, as I say, Tuesday to Friday, August 11th to the 14th, which is AB 20, 21 and 22. Thank you.